with Scott Otey. Scott was on our show in the past when we had The Edge. Scott, you're not afraid to take on certain issues. You're trying to help people out in the community. And I saw this come down. People alerted me to this yesterday. Apparently, it's been going on for some time. I'll give a quick headline, and then you fill us in. Scott and his crew, I'll just say crew, you can give us an update, wanted to help out and pay for kids' lunches for families who couldn't pay for it. I know you were supposed to have a meeting with the Francis Howell School District, one of the largest school districts in the state of Missouri. So imagine this, if you're listening in another state, happening in your area. So you're trying to help, but you've been maybe stonewalled a little bit. We wanted to make sure our viewers and our listeners understood the good deed that you and your team tried to do and where it stands now.
Yeah, basically, let's see, I think there's almost 20 schools in this district. I was trying to pay the past due balance and all these kids' lunches because the kids still get food. They're not going hungry by any, but the food they're getting is like sun butter and jelly or a cheese sandwich.
Is that a government meal?
Basically it's paid for by the government.
So you get a meal if you can't pay for lunches.
Which is great, but not only the embarrassment of them little kids going up there, maybe they don't go hungry, but can you imagine the embarrassment they feel when people know when they have that meal? That's not something you just pick. So the embarrassment of them kids going, that's an adult problem. It's not a kid problem. I don't think we should be dealing with that whatsoever.
Well said.
I wanted to do that, and I have a decent, my friend group, this community is absolutely phenomenal. So I think I was listening to Andy Frisella's podcast on that last Tuesday, and he had brought something up about an article in the news, but in St. Louis, some 14-year-old kid kind of did something very similar, made a GoFundMe to pay for some underprivileged kids to help because he was once that same thing. So I put some feelers out there. Made a Facebook post, basically, hey, who can get me in touch with somebody that can get me an idea of what the balance is for Francis Howell School District? I had an awesome reaction to it, got some numbers, got some names, called them within 5 hours. I had a complete list of every school breakdown as far as, and then the total balance. The total balance was, I want to say, $21,200 something.
Okay. So that was for all of Francis Howell School District or just the high school?
That was all Francis Howell School District. My original, I wanted to do just elementary school kids because of those kids, they don't know any better. They don't have any other options. High school kids, some guys can be little punks and run up to $15 a day type thing, whatever it may be. So my main goal was the elementary school kids, just to see how it went. Because even the elementary school kids, I think there's 10 or 11 elementary schools in Francis Howell Francis Howell School District, which is crazy. But even that debt was like $7,500. That's a lot of money. So I wanted to hit that. And then, so I made a post, said, hey, the GoFundMe, they take a percentage, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to do. I'm going to go ahead and do it to my Venmo, and we'll just go ahead and go from there. If somebody wants to do it, great. If they don't want to, whatever. I'll fill in the gap in between what I actually get and what I need to pay for the elementary schools. I have zero problem filling that gap in between there. The reaction was absolutely insane. We had all day long, people giving $5. My very first donation was a buddy of mine. He lives out in Texas, $1,000 at 7:00 in the morning. Boom.
That's awesome.
When did you put this post up?
I listened to that on Tuesday, so I want to say it was Wednesday morning.
Oh, wow. So we're just about a week. Under a week.
I made the original post on Tuesday saying, hey, who can get me in contact with the Francis Howell School District? And then the following day, I had that information, and I went ahead and said, I'm going to go ahead and do this.
How much money have you raised today?
We're about $19,000.
Wow,
I just filled in the gap between the night because actually I had to stop getting donations because I didn't feel right not giving money to my own thing that I made up. So I had guys willing to pay it off. I had guys who were wanting to give me checks for the remaining balance. Hey, no, I can't do that. Me set this thing up and not give $1. I can't do that. So I had to stop it to where it was around 19 grand-ish.
So you have kids in the Francis Howell School District,
I do. I got to one in 5th grade and one in 1st grade.
How did you find out, or what made you want to help out? Was there an instance, or it was just strictly from Andy and his podcast that you heard, wait a second, if that's happening in his school, it's probably happening in my kid's school district?
Absolutely. And so we're in St. Charles County, which is a lot better, a lot more high earning company.
It's more affluent than St. Louis City.
Absolutely. But that's not to say that there's not people that need help. And with as many schools as there is, I wanted to just put some feelers out there and see what it was. I was not even remotely close to expecting $21,000 in past due balances. Like I said, they're not going hungry, but who wants to eat a cheese sandwich and an apple?
No, exactly. And like you said, there's also the embarrassment that can stick with kids too.
Absolutely.
And you don't need that. Like you said, that's not a kid's problem. Kudos to Andy Frisella and his crew. I love the work that he does for putting a story out like that. Yeah. And then you can see how it can trickle down for what you did. So you raise all this money. You go to Francis Howell and they take it, right?
Yeah. So
it
was pulling teeth to even meet up with the person to give them the check, which was mind boggling to me. It's like, I'm trying to literally hand you $21,000 and you're just like, we'll have to meet up. Talk to 9 different people. I was like, okay, whatever. So I went there and I gave the guy the check for 21 grand. I said, hey man, we don't have a whole lot of trust in the community as far as the last COVID thing. The last time I had to deal with the district was with the whole masking thing. After that, there's
That's
not a
when
whole
you
lot.
joined us on the edge.
Absolutely. And so there's not a whole lot of transparency, there's not a whole lot of trust in this district. I'm going to try to bring that back. I went to this district my whole life. My kids go here, everything else. I want to have a better outlook on this district, but right now it's just not happening. So I'm not going to give you this check without something in writing saying, hey, this check is for X amount of dollars and it's going to go strictly to the funds to make sure that these past debts are paid. So that's the thing that I think Fox 2 did a thing on there. That's the picture, that's the little receipt, I guess, they gave me stating that they're going to go with this and this is going to pay off the.
So it's going to happen now.
Yes.
Okay.
When I spoke to you yesterday, I had the superintendent call me about 6:30. He was riding the buses all day, which this superintendent is a new one. I believe this year's his first year. And I got to say, he was a breath of fresh air.
Thank God that we hear it, because I didn't know where this story was going to go after talking to you yesterday. I was hopeful that they were going to accept this money.
I was in the same boat, and I talked to a few of the school board members, and they were right on course with what I wanted to do, and they thought it was absolutely ridiculous. A few of them were actually just now finding out that if a donation is above $20,000, it has to be approved by the board, which if I would have known that from day one, I would have just gave a check for $19,000 and the one $2,000, made this very simple. And of course, that's not how it worked. There was some things I disagreed with how the district handled it, but that's neither here nor there. But
at this point in time, you're helping who you set out to help.
Exactly.
And your team of people are helping who you set out to help.
Yeah.
So that takes care of all of last year.
All last year they got set up. And like I said, the superintendent, basically he told me they couldn't have they're going to have an emergency meeting to get this thing pushed through on Friday. However, what he told me is he sent an email out to, I guess, the Sexenda or something like that, who deals with all the food in the district, and said, basically, go ahead and assume all this debt is already paid, so no kid gets denied food from today till Friday.
You just gave me chills.
So it's actually
about
passed,
what
man.
you were able to do in just a week, Scott.
It's really neat stuff, man. I told the news article lady who called me, if there's trust and transparency, you can get shit done. But the problem is with everything, with the school district to the government, there's not either of those. And when somebody trusts somebody and the person that they're dealing with is very transparent, and you can see where that money comes from, where that money goes, you can move mountains. But
but look what you've done.
That's what I'm saying.
Look what people have done. So the more successes, as with anything in life, the more you realize, we can do something about this. And it doesn't just have to be with helping kids with money. It could be helping kids, helping people, helping families with a multitude of things.